You only have a few seconds to determine the fate of an idea. No one has the patience for ambiguity, and no one invests in something they can't visualize. A pitch is not a magic show. It is a declaration, the first bullet that strikes the listener's heart. A startup can only grow fast if its introduction is as sharp, concise, and viral as wildfire. This is the final guide you'll need. How to pitch your startup not just to be understood, but to be remembered, trusted, and funded. Clear, compact, and powerful. So how do you turn an idea into a pitch that investors can't take their eyes off? Start here. Part 1. A pitch is a hypothesis, not a performance. Startups don't begin with products or technology. They begin with a hypothesis, a grounded belief that what you're building will drive explosive growth. A pitch isn't a performance. It's a decisive statement. I understand this problem, I solve it better than anyone else, and I have the advantage to win. This is the root of every startup. A scalable, clear, high-growth model. The right mindset from the beginning is the foundation for winning over any investor. A growth hypothesis includes 3 core parts: the problem, the solution, and the advantage. The problem must be real, massive, and suffocating for the user if left unresolved. The solution must come not from a love for technology, but from addressing real pain. Finally, the advantage, the reason why you, not someone else, will win. Together, they form a logical base, a persuasive narrative, and a vision so compelling it makes people say, "I have to invest in you." If you can't visualize where explosive growth will come from, you don't have a startup, you have a product. Real founders know they're not just building software, they're running a growth experiment. Every line of code, every user interaction is a data point proving or disproving the hypothesis. The pitch wraps all this into one clear message. No flash, no drama, just sharp, decisive, and understandable. Part 2. Investor psychology. Understand to win. To get funded, don't think like someone asking for money. Think like someone inviting an investor to play on the same team. They're not interested in your self-praise. They want to see the next unicorn. Great investors don't ask how many features you've built. They ask themselves, if this hypothesis is true, could this be a billion-dollar company? Your job is to provide just enough evidence for them to see that future. Guide them there with clarity, confidence, and precision in every word. When listening to a pitch, investors silently ask 3 questions. Do I understand what you're doing? Am I excited by it? Do I want to work with this team? If you don't answer all 3, you're out. A pitch isn't a time to defend or over-explain. It's a tool to activate imagination. Give them a vivid image, vivid enough that they can explain your idea without looking at your slides. Turn them into your ambassadors. Don't sell, plant seeds. Don't say we have 10 advanced AI features. Make them think, if this is real, it could disrupt an entire industry. The best investors imagine rare but real success story, and they'll complete the rest of your narrative in their own minds. If you hit the right nerve, they'll write the rest. That's the power of an effective pitch. It triggers the right brain, not overwhelms the left. Inspire them to believe. Don't try to prove everything in the pitch. Don't say, we have 100 customers and 5,000 downloads. Instead, make them wonder. So how many users do they have? How do they make money? If they're asking, they're hooked. A successful pitch isn't one that ends smoothly after 5 minutes. It's one that leaves the listener eager to ask more. Curiosity is the clearest sign of investment potential, and only a sharp, focused pitch can spark that. Part 3. Clarity is king, a true asset. Want your idea to spread? Make it easy to understand. A brilliant startup idea that isn't clear is still invisible. Clarity is the prerequisite for being remembered, repeated, and eventually funded. If someone needs more than 10 seconds to understand what you do, they'll move on. Imagine standing among 1,000 startups. If your description isn't laser-focused, it gets lost in the noise. Clarity is the first difference you must make. To be clear, avoid abstract language. Don't say, we create a platform that connects interdisciplinary knowledge using advanced technology. Sounds fancy, means nothing. Say, we help doctors quickly get advice from other doctors through a Q&A medical app. People don't remember buzzwords, they remember concrete images. Force their imagination to work. That's how you etch your idea into their minds in one sentence. A clear idea should play like a short film in the listener's head. They need to visualize who uses it, what for, and what problem it solves. 3 nouns must appear instantly: what the product is, what specific problem it tackles, and who the user is. If even one is vague, the entire pitch fades from memory within 30 seconds. Clarity isn't about saying more. It's about delivering the right image, crisply and memorably, like a punchline in a movie. Don't make people guess. If your business model takes 3 slides to explain, you've already lost. Create one sentence others can repeat at dinner. That's the highest standard of clarity. Effortless virality. The fastest spreading ideas are the most easily grasped. Test your startup description. If a stranger hears it for 10 seconds and can't repeat it in their own words, rewrite it. Clarity isn't natural, it's earned through practice. Every week, every demo, every advisor meeting is a chance to refine how you talk about your company, trimming until no word can be removed. Clarity is born from patience. Cut what's unnecessary, choose simple words, avoid fluff, eliminate jargon. Clarity reflects depth of thought. Those who think deeply speak briefly. Those who ramble haven't yet figured it out. Don't let confusion undermine what you've worked so hard to build. Part 4. Brevity is a sign of intelligence. Brevity isn't harsh, it's refinement. Every word exists for a reason. A good sentence in a pitch isn't just informative, it's precise. Brevity keeps listeners from getting tired. It sharpens their focus. More importantly, it shows you've thought deeply. Those who truly understand the core always know what to cut. Review your startup description. Are you adding information to impress, or are you refining it to make it graspable? A great pitch is like an arrow aimed at the mind. No detours, no fluff, no vague setting the scene. Be brave enough to cut lengthy intros. Don't start with, "In 2021, I was traveling in Nepal." Get straight to the point. We help students find the right mentor in 3 minutes. A sentence like that makes listeners think, "Oh, I get this. I know 3 people who need this." Turn brevity into a weapon for grabbing attention and creating instant interest. Brevity is also a signal of fast decision-making. Great founders know the 20% that brings 80% of the value and eliminate the rest. A concise startup description signals you know how to focus. In startups where time and resources are tight, this skill is gold. Investors read thousands of pitches. If you can't convey value in a few lines, you'll be skipped. Show your focus through how you present. Rewrite your startup description 3 times. Each time, cut 30%. You'll be surprised how much more deeply you understand your own idea after every revision. This isn't just a communication exercise, it's a restructuring of thought. The words get shorter, the thinking gets sharper. Confidence shows up. Brevity doesn't shrink you, it makes you sharper. The person who says less and is remembered more always has the edge. In a pitch, you don't need to say everything. You need to be remembered, right? Part 5. X for Y, a double-edged sword. The X for Y model is powerful when used correctly. It helps the listener instantly visualize what you do without long explanations. Uber for pets, Airbnb for students, TikTok for professionals. In one phrase, you convey the business model, how it works, and the target audience. But because it's so easy, many people misuse it. Overuse leads to doubt. Investors may feel you're copying, not creating. They question your depth of thought. Want to use X for Y? Check 3 things. First, X must be a well-known brand. The more famous, the more visual the shortcut. Second, Y must be a large, underserved market. Third, the combo must make sense. Don't say buffer for Snapchat, buffer is smaller, or Shopee for cat lovers if the niche is too small. X for Y is a double-edged sword. Used well, it's a media launchpad. Used poorly, it makes you look like a clone. Sometimes, X for Y doesn't need to be too specific. You can say, "We're building LinkedIn for blue-collar workers in India." That's enough for people to picture the model, yet it opens space for curiosity. How are you building it? What's different from LinkedIn? A good pitch is always the start of a conversation. Remember, X for Y is not your story. It's the hook that opens the door to curiosity. Use it sparingly, and it becomes a powerful boost. Part 6. The perfect pitch structure, formula, and examples. A startup description is not to show off. It's to be understood and remembered. The ideal formula. We build specific product for specific user to solve specific problem. This isn't theory. It's a pattern seen in thousands of successful startups. Clear structure allows your audience to immediately grasp your role in the market. Don't decorate your sentence. Explain what you actually do. The simplest sentence often carries the most weight. Consider the classic example: a marketplace for travelers to book rooms with locals instead of hotels. In one sentence, we know what it is: a marketplace, who it's for, travelers, and what makes it different: locals versus hotels. It changed the global travel industry. Another example: sync files between your computers. So short, it can't be trimmed further, and yet it captures the product perfectly. Don't try to impress, aim for the nod of understanding. Now take a messy version. We use AI and IoT to build energy-efficient, low-cost healthcare solutions for underserved communities in sub-Saharan Africa. Sounds fancy, but it's full of buzzwords and fluff. Cut it down. We build low-cost medical devices for sub-Saharan Africa. The short version is more memorable, more visual, and crucially, leaves room for follow-up questions. A good description triggers curiosity. When writing your description, always ask, if I knew nothing about this startup, would I understand it? If the answer is no, rewrite it. Imagine handing it to a high school student. If they get it, you've nailed it. Great pitches are street smart, not intellectual. Your startup description should sound like something you'd say to a friend over coffee. Casual, clear, and sticky. If they can retell it to someone else, you've won the investor's heart. Part 7. The defensive mindset, enemy of clarity. Many people fall into a defensive mindset when writing a pitch. They fear their value won't be seen, so they cram in everything: AI, blockchain, global vision. But the more you stuff in, the more lost the listener becomes. Don't turn your pitch into a brag sheet. Think of it as a map. Every detail must be placed precisely, guiding the listener to understand what they're looking at, where it's going, and why it matters. The more you defend, the less clear you become. Many founders try to protect the idea by staying vague, fearing it will be copied. But here's the truth: investors don't want to steal your idea. They want to fund it. The more you hide, the less they care. Vagueness doesn't protect you. It gets you eliminated. If you're afraid of being understood, it means you don't truly believe in your competitive edge. Be bold. Only when you show your hand will trust truly form. Pitching is not the time to exaggerate. It's the time to clarify. Don't add fluff to sound impressive. Strip things down to what's real. Don't try to prove your brilliance. Let clarity do it for you. Don't say we're revolutionizing the industry. Say we cut processing time from 3 hours to 15 minutes. The more specific, the more believable. When listeners understand the real impact, they'll imagine the scale themselves. And once they do that for you, you're winning. Part 8. The ultimate goal: sparking questions. A successful pitch doesn't end with applause, it begins with questions. How did you build that? How many users do you have? How did you get your first customers? These questions show you've triggered curiosity. When someone asks, they've entered your world. That's the ultimate goal of any pitch. Not to close a deal, but to start a deeper dialogue. A pitch is the hook, not the finale. You don't need to explain everything. In fact, you shouldn't. The job of a pitch is to reveal just enough to make them want more. Leave gaps in your story, big enough to spark questions, but not so vague that people check out. A great pitch is like a movie trailer. It doesn't spoil the plot, but makes you say, I need to watch this. Don't worry if they don't understand every detail. Worry if they have no follow-ups. Talk too much and you kill imagination. The listener gets overwhelmed and has nothing to latch onto. But speak precisely, and they start building the vision themselves. They calculate the market, weigh the risks, imagine the path to scale. The less you say, the more they think. And when they're thinking deeply about your idea, they've already started playing your game. Curiosity isn't a side effect, it's the most reliable sign of belief. Questions are the strongest signal of interest. If people go quiet after your pitch, you failed. But if they say, I have a few questions, you've opened the door. That's when the pitch ends, but the game begins. Train your pitch to generate questions. Tune every word to spark imagination. Don't aim for perfection, aim for stimulation. And when you see their eyes light up with curiosity, you'll know you're one step closer to the yes that matters. Part 9. The mark of a great founder. Choosing what to say. Great founders don't talk a lot. They say the right things. They know that every moment in a conversation is a chance to leave a mark. They don't try to explain everything the company does. They pick the one thing that sticks. This isn't restraint, it's strategy. In a sea of information, what sets you apart isn't how much you say, but how sharp your message is. They don't tell everything, but they make people want to know everything. Your pitch mirrors your thinking. If it's messy, your vision isn't clear. If it's wordy, you haven't found the core. A great founder isn't someone who talks well. They talk with strategy. They know what to emphasize, what to skip, and when to stop. A pitch that's brief, sharp, and focused is a clear sign that the speaker knows what to do next, not just how to talk. And investors notice that within the first few sentences. If you want to lead a startup, start by leading the conversation. Every sentence you say must have purpose, to explain, to intrigue, to open a question, or to drive action. Don't tell your story chronologically. Build it around persuasive logic. Don't talk emotionally. Choose optimal structure. Don't hide flaws. Highlight value. Clear thinking, strong structure, sharp words. These are the 3 pillars of a world-class pitch. Finally, remember this. The pitch is not to win a presentation. It's to start a long-term relationship. The listener must trust you, understand you, and want to go the distance with you. That won't come from flashy slides or fancy language. It comes from composure and confidence expressed through precise words. When you know what you're doing, when you choose what matters to say, when you dare to simplify complexity, you're not just pitching. You're leading like a real founder. Conclusion. You can spend months building a product, but only need 10 seconds to lose a funding opportunity. An unclear pitch is like locking the door while the investor is standing outside. And here's the irony. The smarter the founder, the more they fall into the trap of saying everything instead of saying the right thing. Ask yourself, are you truly presenting your idea, or are you hiding your own uncertainty behind polished words? Some believe that big ideas can't be simplified, but if you can't wrap your vision into one convincing sentence, how can anyone bet millions on it? The real question isn't, what did you say? It's, what did they remember? And in the startup game, that memory is worth more than any slide you'll ever design. Thank you for watching the whole video. Please like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos.